touches us in the way that we need. And his leprosy was cleansed. Verse 4 said, And Jesus said to him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way, and show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony to them. That's because it says that in the law. You're supposed to go and show yourself to the priest in the day that you're healed. And here's another story, very interesting. And when he was come down, he entered into Capernaum. There came to him a centurion, beseeching him. That means asking. And he said, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy and grievously tormented. Jesus said, I will come and heal him. Now here again, the same thing. Why didn't Jesus say, well, I'm not sure what I should do here. Give me a week to pray about this, and let me go and consult the will of God. He didn't have to, did he? Why did he respond instantly? He said, I will come and heal him, because that was his attitude about it. He's come to do that very thing. He came to do it, so he didn't have to question the will of God about it. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I'm not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof. But speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I'm a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, Go, and he goes, and to another man, Come, and he comes, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and he said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great, what's the next word? Faith. Now, the reason I'm reading this is we read in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, it says, By grace you're saved through faith. See, faith is what we bring to this. Grace is what God does. Faith is our response to it. Faith is what we bring to it, or don't. And like I said before, some people, when you preach the gospel and preach about Jesus, sometimes people respond. Sometimes people are not sure. And sometimes they're not ready. Sometimes they're afraid. There's all kinds of reasons. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I remember one time, I might have told this story. I know I have. Every story I have, I've told it before. But there's this guy that I think he came here to church once. He and his wife, and they called on the phone, and they were in need of some groceries, and that's okay. I'm glad to help them out, and I bought some groceries for them, and some laundry detergents and things like that. And so some more time passed, and then I got a call from somebody that knew this particular person and said, Did you know so-and-so is in the county jail? I said, No, I didn't know that. He says, Well, they were running a meth lab in their house, and it caught on fire. You know, that's flammable stuff, you know, and the fire department came and put out the fire, and so I went over there, and yeah, sure enough, there was a fire in there, and all the things we bought for them in there, you know, the food and the groceries and all, and things other churches had bought for them in there too, and a lot of stuff. But anyway, so I found out the guy was in county jail. Well, what do you think I should do? What would you do? Should I ignore him? I didn't think I should ignore him. They told me, I thought I ought to go talk to him. No, what should I say to him? Should I go in there and say, You rascal! You had us buy you food so you could save your money, buy your meth supplies. You rascal! Should I do that? No, I didn't think I should do that either. See, what I had in mind was I wanted to bring him grace. I wanted to come and tell him, God loves you, I love you, not get on to him. He already knows he's messed up. I don't need to tell him he's messed up. He knows that, right? Here he is in the jail. It's evident. So I went down there to talk to this man, and I said, I just want to come tell you that God loves you, God wants to help you in your life, and I'd like to pray with you. Don't you think that's a good thing to do? And so he was very receptive to that. Funny how the jail changes your perspective on things. I shouldn't be laughing about this terrible situation, but anyway, he was very receptive to that. And while I was praying with him and talking to him and encouraging him and being very friendly and talking about Jesus and, you know, and about grace, and I noticed that he was not alone in the cell. There was another man also in the cell, but this man was hiding from me. And he was under the covers. There was this little bunk thing, and he had pulled the cover. When he saw me coming in there, he evidently knew, you know, because how I was dressed, or I had a Bible, I don't know what. He knew he was a preacher, I guess. And so he was hiding from me, and he didn't want to see the preacher. He didn't want to hear about this. And so he had pulled the covers up, but I could see his eyes peeking out like that, you know, looking, I guess waiting until I would leave. And so then I got embarrassed because I'd spent all my time talking to the man I was acquainted with and just ignored this other guy because I didn't see him. So then I saw the little eyes peeking out of the cover, and I said, Well, what about you? Can I pray with you too? He said, No. No, he said. Then he started telling me what he had done. I didn't ask him what he'd done. I didn't care. I didn't want to know that. None of my business. No, he said, I stole a car, And I was going to take it back. But it caught on fire, and I was not able to do it. And I didn't care about that. I didn't want to know that. And I said to him, it sounds like you need Jesus in your life. Didn't you think that? Yeah. I said, I'd like to pray with you. Could I pray with you? It sounds like you need Jesus in your life. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, you know, but it sounds like a pretty serious situation, you know. I said, it sounds like you need Jesus in your life. Can I pray with you? And he said, no. He said, I want to wait till I get back to my home church so I can be baptized. And I said, well, you know, this is when I said, I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds like it might be a little while until you're back in your home church. You know, it sounds like you need Jesus right now. You know, if I was in the county jail, I'd be calling on God that very minute. Oh, God, help me. You know, that's what I'd be saying. And so I wanted to pray with him. No, he said, I was a little bit persistent. I said, I'd like to still pray with you. No, he says, I want to wait. I finally said, two or three times we had this little back and forth. No, I want to wait. I want to wait till I can get back to my home church. And I said, you know, you remind me of a person. This is what I said. I can't believe I was so bold to say this. I said, you remind me of a person who's been chained to the back of a car and they're dragging you around in the street and you're saying, let me go around the block one more time. You know, what do you want to wait for? You know. Anyway, what was I? Oh, yeah. So the response is faith. If you respond positive, see, this guy didn't respond. He didn't. I couldn't make him respond. You know. Anyway, so Jesus here says, listen to this now. Verily I say unto you, verse 10, I have not found so great faith. Now, what is it that he was so impressed about? Well, Jesus said, I will come and heal him, and he said, you don't even need to come. Just speak the word, and it'll be so. Just speak the word, and what I need will be done. And Jesus evidently thought that was remarkable. And he said, I haven't found this kind of faith, no, not in Israel. And this next verse, I'm going to go ahead and read these next two verses because it troubles some people, but I want you to understand what it means. Verse 11, it said, I say to you that many shall come from the east and the west and sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast into outer darkness, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Sometimes Christians read this and get alarmed, and they, wait, he says children of the kingdom will be cast into outer darkness, and they get worried and think that, you know, if I make a mistake or do something wrong, he's going to throw me out. And that's not what he means at all. He said, I haven't found this kind of faith in Israel. In other words, he's saying, the people I have come specifically for. See, Jesus was sent as the last messenger of the Old Covenant, the last prophet sent to the nation of Israel. He said, I haven't found this kind of faith in Israel. The people I've come specifically for aren't responding this way. And here's a Gentile, a centurion who has got faith, whereas the children of Israel, the children of the kingdom, that's who they are. And what he's saying here is, you know what? He turns around to all of them in reference to this centurion, this Gentile, this outsider who has such great faith in him. He says, you know, they're going to come from the east and the west and the north and the south and sit down with Abraham. And the people who are supposed to be there are going to be on the outside. That's what all he's saying. He's not saying the Christians get rejected. He's just saying people are going to come like this guy. And guess what? Look at all of us here. We've come from the east and the west and the north and the south, and we're sitting down in the kingdom of heaven. Why? For one reason, just because we have faith in Jesus. It's because of faith. The people that Jesus was sent to, you know, John says it this way, he came unto his own, and his own received him not. That's a sad thing. You know, he went around preaching. You know, there are places in the Gospels where Jesus says, I'm not sent to anyone except the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And during his earthly ministry, that was true. You know, a woman came to him, a Gentile, and she said, have mercy on my daughter. She's tormented with the demon. And he said, it seems kind of harsh. He said, I'm not sent to anyone except the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That seems kind of mean. I've heard people say, well, he was using reverse psychology on her. No, he wasn't. He was just telling her that's how it is. I'm very sorry, but that's how I am sent to the children of the house of Israel. And you know what she said to him? The crumbs. Yeah, the crumbs, the children, that fall from the children's table, the dogs eat. In other words, if you're going to think that I'm an outsider, a dog, that's what they said about the Gentiles. It says, the dogs will eat. What they're rejecting, I'll take. And that's what Jesus is saying here. They're going to come like us, from the north and the south and the east and the west, because they believe. And the people who should be there are going to be on the outside. Because they don't believe. That's the only difference. That's the only reason. This is, again, this is what Jesus meant when he says all throughout the Gospels, the first shall be last and the last first. Those who were first in line, the children of Israel, who should have been first, because